Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting of the Davidson County Board of Commissioners to order this Tuesday, August the 11th, 2020. Commissioner Protz will lead us in the pledge and the invocation, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight as a board that governs Davidson County. We come to you with thanks about our wonderful county and what we have that you have bestowed upon us. We also come to you in prayer to heal our nation and our world. It's ever-changing times that we're in, and a lot of people have become upset, myself one of them, at the political and health issues going on in our nation and our world. The fact that some people want to wear masks, some don't. Some are very upset about this COVID virus, some are not. And it creates divisiveness within our nation and the entire world. We've been cooped up in our houses, things are shut down, businesses are shut down, people are out of work. It's almost like the Great Depression. And God creates an issue within our hearts and our minds. But through you, we can get through this. We can overcome. And we come to you tonight in prayer in hopes that you will heal our hearts, our minds, and our nation to what it once was. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In recognition tonight, I'd like to say welcome to our citizens, department heads, visitors to tonight's meeting. We have a special recognition. Commissioner Protz and Sheriff Simmons will lead this off.
Is the sheriff in here?
We may need to ask a couple of folks, a couple of our department heads. Oh, okay.
Okay, Major Pace, do you mind? You and Deputy Surratt want to come up to the podium? Madam Chairwoman and fellow commissioners, I believe we're all aware of Deputy Surratt saving somebody from drowning. So I thought it would be nice to ask the Sheriff's Office to come in and kind of tell us what happened, and that way we can congratulate you and thank you in person. So if you don't mind.
Good evening. I'm Captain Grubb with the Sheriff's Office. I'm the SRO supervisor. I've had the privilege of Deputy Surratt working under me for the last 3 years. On the particular day in question, Deputy Surratt was working lake patrol at the Pebble Creek Access when it was brought to his attention that a lady was distressed in the water. It appeared that she was unconscious at the time, so Deputy Surratt assisted others on the scene with pulling her from the water. He assessed her well-being and saw that she was in need of CPR, so he administered CPR as he's been trained. And thank goodness that due to his quick actions and his training, he was able to save her life. We're very proud of him. He's been at the Sheriff's Office for 4.5 years. Like I mentioned, 3 of those years he served as the school resource officer at South Davidson High School and South Davidson Middle School, and he has served on the Davidson County Rescue Squad for 39 years. So he's been training for this day since he was right out of high school. We're very proud of him. Our deputies quite often do CPR on individuals and citizens in our county when we do get the call. But this one here is getting recognized, and for good reason. So we congratulate Deputy Surratt, and we're very proud of him.
Can we take a photo?
This is just a small part. I think I was just doing my job. I don't think it's a really big deal, but, I was just glad to be at the right place at the right time. And, it just worked out. So, I mean, it was a joint effort. I mean, I had bystanders to help me and, had a couple of nurses. And then the EMS got there, they gave her Narcan and, so it just worked out. The lady's doing good. I've been in touch with her. She called and thanked me. She has 1 broke rib, 3 fractured ribs, and displaced sternum, but she's alive.
Amen.
And she said she's still sore. I apologize for breaking her ribs. Do it right, you have to do that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it takes a true hero to turn around and put, really the recognition on others that are around you. I enjoy bringing folks like you in and congratulating you, thanking you for your service. We have a hard time recruiting deputies and people to work in government. And, I think it's a good thing if we can get the more media to see the good that you guys do. Because so many people don't back the blue. And, it's time for a change. We've got to back you guys and ladies in what you all do. It's a selfless service. We know you don't make, you're not gonna get rich doing what you do, but you do get the pride and the joy. And, I thank you for saving her life, and I hope she goes on and prospers from there. So, thank you.
Amen. Madam Chairman, Chairwoman, I would like to comment to Deputy Surratt and just say, God bless you. Thank you so much for the service and the selfishness that, you showed up this morning, or this evening, and you don't want any of the credit. And you said it's just a part of your job. And 99.9% when we have heroes that step up to the plate, that's what they say. And it's because you're out there serving and protecting. And this is what humanity is supposed to be like. Our brother and our sister's keeper. And that's exactly who you are. And I'm honored to call you one of our Davis County deputies. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, ma'am,
Yes, sir.
I wore one of those uniforms one time, Deputy Surratt.
Amen.
And I know a large part of the job that I had at that time was patrolling, checking out properties, but occasionally something special will happen, something that will mark you as a special person. And I'm just thankful to Almighty God for the special people He puts in our lives.
Amen.
And I appreciate what you do, and I always will appreciate what you do. You have a tough job. A lot of people don't realize that most of the people see us cruising around and they don't know what we're doing. But we're checking properties, we're checking neighborhoods. It could have been a B&E that's hit a certain part of the county, and you're patrolling, trying to look for suspicious vehicles. People don't see these things. But the people who know law enforcement, they know what's going on out there. And I salute you, sir.
Amen.
For your stance and what you do. And I appreciate what you said a while ago about I was just doing my job. This way I always felt, but you never know when that impacts another person's life forever. Thank you, sir.
That's the way we was raised, wasn't it, Tim?
Yeah.
Amen.
The way we was raised. Thank you.
I'm gonna take a picture.
One, two, three. A couple more. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Give it back, but my glasses straight, you're not gonna. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Commissioner Steve, that was tremendous. It's good to be reminded that you wore the badge and you chose to put your life on the line for the citizens also. I appreciate your service.
So we have a lot of firemen, a lot of
That's right.
police officers.
911 dispatchers, all of them.
911 operations, I consider them special people.
Amen.
God has put those people where they need to be.
Thank you, sir.
And for the adoption of the agenda, I'm requesting that closed session be moved to immediately follow the adoption of the agenda. Mr. Martin has requested that agenda item 6CC, we'll turn to that, budget amendment and addition to vehicle fleet VMS, be removed from the agenda. Are there any other changes for the agenda?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Commissioner Toole
Second.
makes the motion. Have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote. We're going to do we're gonna cast some of our votes, and some of them we're gonna do verbally tonight, but
Okay.
we'll cast this one tonight.
Commissioner McClure and Commissioner Toole, could I have your votes, please? Okay. And that motion carries by a vote of 7-0.
Okay?
Madam Chair, with your permission, motion to go into closed session.
Okay. I've got a motion. Do we have a second to go into closed session?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye. This is verbal. Aye.
for the delay. Is that Sydney out there? Can't tell with the mask on.
We have some air conditioning here, don't we?
We do, it does feel a lot better. I'm gonna go ahead and turn, for recording.
Madam Chair, I will make a motion that we return to, open session.
Have a motion and a second to return to open session. Verbal, response? Aye. Mr. Fry, will you please provide the report on the closed session?
Yes, ma'am. The board considered 3 matters in closed session. The personnel matter was for informational purposes only. There was no action taken. The attorney-client, the board gave direction to the county attorney for further action by our office. And the economic development matter requires consideration by the board for a hearing if the board would wish to consider amending its agenda to allow that.
So, do I have a motion and a second to amend the agenda to call for a public hearing?
So moved.
Can we do this vote verbally, ma'am?
Let's do a verbal vote.
Yes, ma'am.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Goodson will lead off. Gonna have call for public hearing for project W.
August the 25th, correct?
Thank you, Commissioners. The Davidson County EDC would like to request a public hearing for your next meeting on September the 25th to consider, August, to consider an incentive for Project W. Project W is a local manufacturing concern that would like to expand its facility by 80,000 square feet, invest approximately a minimum of $4.5 million and add 15 new jobs. The incentive would be the standard 0.0027 times the capital investment and will be paid annually for 5 years.
Do I have, all in favor? Setting up
In a second to.
I'll make a motion, we, set a public hearing for August 25th for Project W.
I'll second.
I have a vote. You want a verbal vote, Daniel?
Aye.
All in favor? Thank you, Ms. Wilson. I have a rezoning request by Claudio Ray in Boone Township containing .95 plus or minus acre from RM1 to CUHC. I declare the public hearing open, and Mr. Kornman will introduce the application and provide instructions regarding the quasi-judicial nature of the proceeding.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You have a request by Claudio Reyes to rezone said property in Boone Township, tax map 18, lot 3, containing 9,500 of an acre, more or less. Property is located on the northeast side of Snyder Kynes Road, approximately 0.52 of a mile southeast of the old Salisbury Road intersection. The address is 595 Snyder Kynes Road. The rezoning is requested to change from RM1 medium density residential district to that of conditional use highway commercial district. The planning board did meet on this at their July 21st meeting, and their recommendation was unanimous, 5-0. Madam Chairman, this is a conditional use, so it'd be appropriate to swear folks in on this application
You want to do that first?
Richard will leave him now.
before we take any testimony. Let me get
You want to do this before he explains it, I guess. Oh, swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give to the board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Barney.
You raise your left hand, does it still count?
Bill, do you affirm that the testimony you are about to give, if any, will be the truth and nothing but the truth? There is only one who can know the whole truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Mr., will you come forward and explain your request, and will you say your name for us, please?
Yes, thank you very much for having me here. My name is Claudio Reyes.
Race,
Yeah.
okay.
So you can take the mask
You
off?
can take your mask down so we can hear you a little bit
Okay,
better.
thank you.
I can't understand you.
Well,
Thank you.
as you can see my face, you were missing nothing. So. Anyway, you want me to tell you what we are planning to do there? Okay. In that place used to be a house and was turned down because of the widening of the Interstate 85. And we bought the property after the house was torn down. And the purpose of buying that property is to put there a sign for a business that we have in High Point. And it's in a strategic place because it's right before the fork that will send the people either to 85 North, Interstate 85 North, or to Business 85, right? And we are trying to get the people into Business 85. We are planning to do there a sign. Basically, it's a billboard. It's just a little bit different than the billboards that you normally see, because it's a metal frame that will be holding three-dimensional letters. So you will see the letters kind of floating on the air, you know, and you will see through the woods, the trees. That is what we pretend to do there. And we will also, because it's a kind of hill, there is it's a nice place because the Division of Highways has there some plants, and occasionally they put some flowers, these wildflowers. And what we are trying to do is follow the same thing, put the flowers, wildflowers, to the top of the hill where the sign will be.
Any questions from the board?
What kind of business is this advertising?
It's a design center in High Point.
Design center.
Yeah.
Furniture.
Furniture design.
Yeah, well, it's an old warehouse that used to be our warehouse because we were manufacturers of iron beds, and we used that warehouse for storage many years, and then unfortunately we had to go out of business, and we restored the building that was built in 1960. Before we buy that building, it used to be a sofa maker, and the building, you know, in High Point, like in Lexington, this area, there are a lot of empty warehouses. So we restore it and we made a place that works, it's a mix. We invite the interior designers to showcase there. We also have an area that is for antiques. So it looks, when you walk in and there are aisles and booths, so it may look like an antique mall but more design oriented. So we do.
Just one other question. Say hypothetically, okay, that, your plans for what you're gonna use that billboard doesn't work out, and guy, this may be for you too. Is he in the position that if he later on wanted to rent that space, he could rent that space? Change that sign?
Yeah, well, he would remain the owner, but the conditions would still run with the property, so whoever leased it would have to have these same conditions for their sign.
And would they be able to lease rent the sign out, for example? A company wanna put an ad there, could they put an ad there?
They would, have to conform with, what he's proposed as conditions. The size of the sign would remain the same.
I'm talking about the same sign, and instead of the name of his company that he's planning to put on there now, if that didn't work out for him, would he be free to put another name on that sign?
Yes, as long as it met the same criteria.
Thank you, okay.
Mr. Corman, those criteria are set out in Exhibit A, is that correct?
Yes, the conditions and so forth that he's agreed to.
See anything contrary to that, Commissioner?
No, sir. Okay, I would agree. I just wanted to draw the board's attention to those criteria. I believe that those were actually requested or submitted by the applicant.
That's correct. They're part of his conditions that he's agreed to.
I mean, somebody could tear it down and put the same size sign back up, because his is gonna be a little unique in design, so.
It is.
As long as it's, they could
And
tear
if you read our minutes of the planning board, you probably got that feel for the, so it's a wire mesh type sign that, will be up there. It's gonna be different than what you normally see.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. If there are no other questions from the board, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak either in favor or in opposition?
The ordinance description of HC describes the subject property much better than the ordinance description of RM1 does. Quote, outdoor advertising sign, unquote, is a use permitted by right in an HC district. And of course, the CUHC has all of the criteria of the general use, the companion general use HC district. But then your conditions are layered above that. An outdoor advertising sign can have, under general use, can have an area of more than 400 square feet, and the proposed structure won't either. An outdoor advertising sign can't be closer than 500 feet to another outdoor advertising sign, and the proposed structure won't be either. An outdoor advertising sign can't be taller than 35 feet, and the proposed structure won't be either. But the proposed structure won't be an, quote, outdoor advertising sign or billboard, unquote, as defined in the ordinance. I'm sure all of you have your ordinances handy. Look on page, Roman numeral 6-19 of the ordinance. Actually, that should, that page is misnumbered. It's in Article 9, Roman numeral. Bottom of the page, outdoor advertising sign or billboard, the provision of an outdoor display sign or display space on a lease or rental basis. So that's not such a great problem. All the applicant has to do is charge himself rent. When I say that I can see through that, I usually am accusing somebody of deception. When I say that I can see through this, meaning the sign, I will be paying the applicant a compliment. I look forward to doing so. That's in favor of the request. But Mr. Corman has something he wants to bring to your attention.
Barney was concerned about the, when we, look at the sign, you know, if this is approved, then he'll have to work with our building inspections, and this will be something that'll be reviewed at the, administrative, review of the sign permit that he'll apply for through our, and, in our ordinance, it talks about, a radius, let me get to the right page and I'll read it to you.
This was in Article 6, actually.
Yeah, 13, I think it was.
16.
15. Okay.
16.
Under K, it says that there shall be a minimum radius between two outdoor advertising signs of 500 linear feet. What that means is, you know, it'll be 1,000-foot separation between, signs there.
500 each way.
Yeah, 500 with each one of them. But, down below that, it also says two signs shall be spaced, no two signs shall be spaced less than 300 feet apart. Actually, the DOT says 500 feet, so theirs is a little bit greater than ours, so. But Barney was concerned that there might be a discrepancy there.
Well, I think there is a discrepancy. I'm sure there's a discrepancy, and you got two sentences and they contradict each other. I think this is the, that manifest error that we've been hunting all these years.
Mm-hmm.
But I am very much in favor of the request, and I hope it, gets a unanimous vote.
Can we address our ordinance to match the DOT?
We will, when we're gonna be doing some major cleanup of the ordinance, so that would be the appropriate time.
Okay.
All right, are you ready for my?
Yes,
Okay, well, legislatively, this certainly fits, the, compatibility of the use. We have Interstate 85 designated as an economic corridor of economic opportunity, and with 70,000 vehicles, going through the area there, this seems to make a perfect place for a sign of this nature to advertise his business, and if anything else comes later on, it can go up there as well. But I would also point out that you've had significant changed or changing conditions with the construction of the new highway there. And also, Policy .10 of the adopted land development plan lends support to the proposed rezoning of this to a HC district. So at this time, we're recommending approval of the request, Madam Chairman, and we have considered this for your consistency statement as well and put some language in there for that.
Would you like to add anything? Okay. Any further discussion by the board? I declare the public hearing closed. May I have a motion and second to either approve or deny the rezoning request?
Make a motion we approve, Madam Chair,
And adopt the resolution with the end.
and adopt a resolution, statement of consistency.
Have a second. Please cast your vote.
Okay, and then I'll also, direct the board's attention to the,
All of the votes are in, and that motion carries by a vote of 7-0.
okay, and then you have a list of, conditions there for the, that I'll be glad to read just for the record, if you'd like for me to, or if you want to accept those. You have them as part of your application.
I'll make a motion we accept those conditions.
I second.
Question. The 1-7,
What are those? I don't have.
the condition 7, Todd would eliminate them putting up a different kind of board.
Oh, number 7 would?
Yeah, it says the board will be a fancy one instead of a flat full panel. Will be made out of wire mesh in which the letters will be displayed like floating in the air. I don't really know that they need to have that condition in there at all. And the one down at the bottom, there's no other billboard within a distance of 500 feet. That's just a statement of fact as it is today, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any use in having that one either. Doesn't affect you at this point in time. You still put your billboard up just like you want, but sometime in the future, if somebody else is in there, they can put a different kind of billboard up.
I amend my motion to take number 7 and number 9, conditional uses out.
Yep, number 10.
Number 10.
Good job.
Okay.
Motion amended.
I'll keep my second.
Okay, thank you. Please cast your vote. Yes, sir.
All of the votes are in. And that motion carries by a vote of 7-0.
Good job.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, welcome. We have a rezoning request by Greg Garrett, Tally Point LLC in Arcadia Township, 18.67 acres from RA3 to MXR. I declare the public hearing open, and I'll ask Mr. Garrett to come forward and explain his request after Mr. Cornman.
Okay, you do have a request by Greg Garrett of Tally Point LLC to rezone 18.67 acres, more or less, located in Arcadia Township, tax map 12, being a portion of lot 55. Property is located on the south side of Higgy Road, approximately a quarter of a mile west of the South Union Grove Road intersection. The address is 282 Daydream Lane. The rezoning is requested to change from that of RA3 Rural Agricultural District to MXR District, Mixed Use Residential. The planning board did look at this at their June 21st meeting. At that time, their recommendation was 5-0 to recommend approval as it was presented to the board at the time. This is a proposed subdivision, I believe, of 30 lots. And it is in the watershed, and it's doesn't exceed the required maximum of 2 lots. 2 lots per acre, so he doesn't go over or beyond that. So he's within that criteria or requirement. Can you address?
Have we got the right picture up, please?
No.
All right,
Before we continue, point of interest, Matt. We had a previous, zoning request on Hagee Road sometime a while back.
yes, sir.
And, I brought to the attention that I own property on Hagee Road. That would have been lot 27 there. Whatever happened right there in that
Right
curve.
there in the curve
I
there.
have recently sold that, so I have no interest on Hagee Road at this time.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Garrett is here tonight if you would like to hear from him, and
Okay.
He'll tell you that he actually received approval as a regular subdivision, and I think you had, 25 lots in that subdivision, but he was having difficulty meeting his criteria to make this happen for him due to the floodplain issues that he was having on the south, that you can see there, and there's also a 50,000 kV transmission power line that cuts through there as well, and so he decided that he would come back to the county and ask for an MXR, and he's able to, because we I guess narrowed the lots down to 65 feet now, he was able to get 5 additional lots, but he's still within that two lot minimum per acre.
None of those lots in the floodplain? Yeah. None of those lots being in the floodplain?
No, sir.
May I remove my mask?
Right there.
Good evening, Madam Commissioner and members of the board. My name is Greg Garrett, and I am the developer for the proposed property that's before you.
You might
this
give
evening.
your address too.
Yep, so 6420 Hampton Knoll Road, that's Clemens 27012. As I was saying, I'm the developer for the subject property before you tonight. It's probably a little unusual in that I did get the subdivision approval a couple months ago, and the main reason for that actually is this property was I purchased it from the Hagee brothers, the Rabana Farm folks. I'm sure most of you know them, and had a pretty tight schedule to get basic approvals before I could close on the property, and it was right at the height of all of the COVID craziness. I was talking to Scott and Guy. They were like, well, you know, I wanted to do a rezoning then, but at that point they were saying probably July, maybe August before you could actually hold any public hearings. So went ahead and just moved forward with the subdivision approval. As I've gotten into the nitty-gritty of it, it became evident that I really needed this rezoning, the MXR. The main reason is for flexibility. Under the regular RA3 zoning district, I have to have a minimum of 20,000 square feet in a lot. And as we parceled out the property, a lot of the lots were in the floodplain, not where the houses would be, but part of the lot. And in all my years of doing land development and home building, if you have any part of a lot that's in floodplain, typically a mortgage company's going to hit you up with flood insurance. you can explain to them the house is not there, but, you know, some of these mortgage companies are so big, they just look at one map, and if they see any floodplain on a lot, then they're having to pay for flood insurance. And of course, that is, not an expense that most homeowners want to pay for, especially if they're not in danger of flooding. So that's one of the reasons for, the rezoning request tonight. Also, as we were getting all of the infrastructure priced out, it became very evident that, just to be competitive with some of the neighborhoods that are currently going up in the area, we really needed the MXR. We have the same amount of road, but we can pick up 5 additional houses, and that helps our cost. And so, that also is a reason for the request tonight. But you can't stress enough, I would have come to this conclusion back in April had the MXR zoning been available, but at that point, there was just too many unknowns, so we just moved forward with the subdivision, and now, I'm before you asking for this rezoning. I could have 37 houses under this MXR zoning district, and I'm only going with 30. You may ask why. Well, I've had a lot of conversations with NCDOT about this, and they were comfortable with 30. And so that's why we're just doing the 30 lots. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, and appreciate your favorable support tonight.
So have you started any of your grading or anything?
Yes, sir. I have actually started grading. Grading started up about 3 weeks ago.
So your roads and all hadn't changed, just
correct.
The layout of the lots would.
That's right. That road layout is the same as the subdivision approved layout. It's just how the lots are parceled out on it.
He had received his driveway permit from DOT, so that was pretty much set in stone because he had to have that sight distance because of the curve there on Higgy Road there.
Are you building the houses yourself, or are you selling the lots?
I'm actually selling the lots to a local builder, Sagamore Homes. They built the property the homes just to the east of this subject site. Thought that would also help in the impact to the neighborhood, because, you know, there's going to be impact. I can't deny that. The other thing that is important to mention is that I normally hold a neighborhood meeting with the adjoining property owners, but due to the meeting, you know, COVID restrictions, I went door to door and spoke to many neighbors, and if they weren't there, left my business card. So I'm trying to be a good neighbor to the folks out there.
The roads that are in there, they're going to be state maintained, right?
Yes, sir.
Additional questions? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak either in favor of or in opposition to this request?
The staff analysis says that this is contiguous to existing, MXR to the north, south, east, north, east, and west. The, planning board recommendation and the statement on, resolution on statement of consistency say that it's just east and west. Which is it?
Well, you've got the, Scott Weston Sedona. Okay, that's to the east, and then you've got the, just to the northwest, you've got the, Kleiner Farms, and Scott Weston, the name of that, Bryson Park, which is the one that Commissioner Shell was referring to. So you've got 2 MXR districts.
Right, but it touches on 3 sides.
Yes.
That's my point. Contiguity is king, and according to what we just said here, the subject property touches existing MXR on 3 sides. I didn't know there was that much MXR in the county. Also, according to the staff analysis, the applicant opted for the flexibility of MXR to, quote, avoid constraints, meaning the floodplain and the power transmission lines right-of-way, and maximize his investments, which would be the 5 extra lots. I tip my hat to an unapologetic capitalist. They are rare today. I'm in favor of the request.
Thank you, Mr. Gill. Mr. Garrett, do you have any additional information you think you need to share?
I'm sure we may have someone else in the audience.
Okay. Someone else? Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you, I apologize.
I'm Cassandra Fatuski. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I actually live on the 429 Heggie Road. My family moved here outside of Winston about almost 2.5 years ago. So we are the lot 63 with the 1 acre of residential commercial and the other 5.4, I believe, right around there, is RA3. We moved here to build a life and build a family and build a community. We wanted to join in the community of Davidson County. We are in the process of raising 2 young children. We wanted the opportunity for our children to grow up in farmland. My youngest is obsessed with farming. We are actually in the process of filing all the paperwork to begin formalizing what we can of our property as a farm. It's been a long process. We did speak previously about the MXR with the Kleiner Farm properties as well. And I just would ask that you guys consider the impact that this MXR zoning is having on the fabrics of the communities around. We had actually spoken with the Heggies about purchasing this property ourselves. As soon as we moved here, we asked them to let us know. We asked for other property in the area. We wanted to build a life and become a part of this community in this area, talking to our neighbors, helping our neighbors. We want to raise our children who want to stay in Davidson County. We left Winston to get out of this. We lived in downtown. I could look in both of my neighbors' windows. We could talk without even opening the windows. But we moved here to become a part of a true community and building a community. And it was brought up, the Kleiner Farms, they did do a traffic study just to kind of see how many cars could travel the road. But what wasn't addressed is the fact that I almost got run over crossing the road recently. Just to get to my mailbox. I almost got run over. And it's not the first time. My cousin was coming to visit, and the graders from, I believe it was the other project, ran her off the road. Her and her van full of children were ran off in my front yard because it's not being done carefully and it's not being done respectfully to the people who are trying to build the communities of Davidson County. We want to see people, and we want to have relationships with people, but we want it to be done in such a way that's respectful of the people that are there and respectful of the people that are coming in. We want people to come in who want to build Davidson County to become better, not just more homes, not just more people. We want to see Davidson County have a vision towards building unity and building community, not just building as many homes as we can fit on an acre of land. And I do appreciate that he's not taking as much space as he can. And he has been kind and he has been gracious to us through this entire process. He has communicated with us multiple times. And I appreciate that and I respect that. But I cannot emphasize enough that something has got to give. This cannot continue. There's nothing else left on my road. There's nothing else to build on, so it's done. But there are other places in this county that need to be treated with respect. And I get it. There's MXR there, there's MXR there. The entire area, completely. I'm the other property that's not MXR. But we just want to see consideration being made for the future of Davidson County, not just to be more homes, looking for families who want to influence the community for the better. I want my children to grow up on this land and more, if there were some way for me to get some, on this land and more to continue. Our home is 120 years old. Our barn is hand-hewn logs. This is not just something. This is a part of the history of Davidson County as well. And we want to see that continuing. And we want to see it becoming more. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor or opposition? Yes, sir.
I'm Joshua Fatuski. I am Cassandra's husband. I'm black because I am mourning the destruction of perfectly good farmland for housing. I'm in mourning because this is a done deal, and this is simply a formality. My voice means nothing. It means nothing. I pay taxes in Davidson County. It means nothing. Because the taxpayers, not you. I don't blame anyone in this room. The taxpayers have seen fit to allow MXR on Higgy Road. This man has every right to do what he wants with his property. Every right. But I am in 100% opposition, as my wife is, to any more zoning of MXR anywhere in Davidson County. I don't care if it's on Higgy Road. I don't care where it is. It doesn't need to happen. The last time we had a meeting about this, I spoke to the surveyor who was dealing with the Kleinard farm, and he said, well, would you rather have 100 houses on 100 acres or 100 houses on 20 acres? I'd rather have it on 100 acres. Because it would be 100 individually built custom homes that are quality, like the house that I live in, not the junk that is being built around me. And I'm not speaking to anyone in this room. I'm speaking to the voters of Davidson County. Slab on grade is crap. And if you want to buy it, fine. But if you want a house, come buy my house. How many generations have been raised in my house? I have no idea. But my barn was built at the founding of this country. It has been there twice as long as the house. The house is the second house on the property, and it's still going. He has every right to do what he wants with his property, Robana Farms. I fault them not a bit to make a buck. But unrestrained capitalism is just that. It's unrestrained. And the whole point of government is to restrain. And I ask that you not rezone this land MXR. Let him build his houses on RA3. He has every right to do that. He is a landowner, and just as I have every right to do whatever I feel like with my property, so does he. But there's no reason to rezone this land. Absolutely none. Put that floodplain up if you would. Every bit of that floods and more. We had a hurricane come through here back right after we moved in. And Ben Hagee was down there checking to see if he'd even be able to harvest his soybeans. Because it was a literal river. Trees floating down the river. So I hope he builds his houses far enough out of that floodplain to to where these people don't lose their homes. Trees floating down the river. Every bit of that blue and more. You couldn't cross the service road to the substation. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have anyone else who wishes to speak either in favor of or opposition? Do you, Mr. Garrett, would you like to?
Yeah, I'd just like to respond to the
Okay.
MXR. So I'm longtime developer, worked for Kavanaugh and then Schugert, and now I'm doing it on my own. And I just want to give you another perspective, another side to it before we bash MXR too much. MXR is a really good tool for developers and working with all of the different constraints that properties have. You can't do MXR everywhere in Davidson County. I believe you have to have public sewer. That's the difference on Heggie Road, is there's a significant amount of money that's been invested by the county for that sewer line, and that quite frankly is why you want on certain properties, why you want to be able to get as many of the houses on it as you can, because you want to maximize what is being served by that public sewer. You don't have the same issues as you do with septic. You know, that public sewer line is there's a benefit to the health of the community. And so I just wanted to add that other perspective is that, I mean, we're not talking highly dense property. I mean, you're already capped at 2 lots per acre. I think this MXR rezoning district that the county has is a really good tool that enables builders and developers to take property and create something nice with open space, but still get the, the housing, numbers, up to where it makes sense for the county's investment as well as the developer's investment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cornman?
Certainly. Back when we redid our land development plan back in 2011, we knew that the investment that the county was going to be making with the infrastructure up there was going to have a big impact on our northern part of the county, particularly in the watershed. So we employed a lot of policy statements that tried to address these mixed-use plan developments to try to maintain the available green space. And so we have a number of policy statements in our housing and neighborhood development section that addresses, and these type of MXR districts, plan development districts, try to incorporate those policy statements, 6.123, all of them, 6.4, 6.6, all lend support to these type of development. And as you've heard us in the past talk about how it allows less land to have to be graded, so you can avoid the mass grading that occurs in a straight subdivision that would be more detrimental to the creeks and streams in the area because of runoff and whatnot. So we've tried to address those impacts through our land development plan. We'll be taking a look at those probably in the next couple of years. This is a 20-year plan that we've been working on, but it appears that the proposed development will be harmonious with the existing Sedona and what you approved for the one to the what's the name of it, Scott? Bryson Park. So, but again, these are 30 lots. Like you said, he could have had 37, so it's 30 lots. He's complied with the county's subdivision regulations for the MXR district. So with that in mind, we would recommend approval of the request.
Any further discussion from the board?
Is that floodplain on that property, is that 100-year?
100-year floodplain.
When the last time they had the hurricane and the flood, did it get up on that property?
Can you answer, were you out there when? Yeah, I don't know.
Do you know, sir? I was there. I said, do you know?
No, I cannot speak to exactly where it was, but I can tell you that from that map and from what I know of the area, because I drive that service road quite often to get back to the backside of my property, that service road was not passable. So you put your blue map over top of that service road and you can see where yep, it wasn't passable.
Well, his plans are not in the floodplain. What I was referring to is how close to the floodplain are your homes?
I think lot 20 is the closest one, right there. Reaches it, kind of butts up to that lines the floodplain.
So, I just did a quick, measurement there, and it looks like that lot 20 is about the back of that house will be 100 feet away from the current floodplain. But what's also, worth noting is that as we are, doing our grading, we're actually bringing dirt to that area to bring that, building, pad up in higher elevation. I mean, clearly, we want to stay far, far away from any flooding issues, in the future, and so we're paying close attention to that. Obviously, there's a lot of regulations that, are in play here. FEMA has them, your local stormwater folks are looking at that stuff, so, we definitely want to keep close eye on that, and I believe we've done that.
I think, I didn't know, whether there was any way that we could require the folks that, build and buy those homes in there to be notified that they're that close to a floodplain.
Well, Scott is our floodplain administrator. Scott, do you want to address that?
It's a requirement in the floodplain ordinance for his map that he's gonna put on record to show the level of the floodplain, so what will be recorded will have a flood line on it. And at that point, we're hoping that the future homeowners will, or at least their closing attorneys will be able to locate that and say, well, there's your floodplain. We don't typically write letters because we don't know when these lots are sold, obviously, but it will be on the recorded plat.
Yeah, about 25% of all the flood claims are out of floodplain.
Mm-hmm.
Being down that close, it's at least one thing that he's using the dirt to build that up a little bit, but, we have some issues in this county where every time we get a hard rain, we've got people's properties flooded.
We do, yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Has there been any studies done on the accessibility to the park itself, to the division itself from the road?
Any studies? I'm not sure.
Any DOT studies or?
The impact of traffic on the road. When we were doing, the Bryson Park, they hired a.
In other words, the state said, after you're finished, we'll look at it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It has nothing to do with, your development, Greg, but I've been there. And I've seen things happen in that curve. And I would not want to be living in one of them houses, I'm telling you.
Just to add on to what I was saying, if you did the RA3 without going to the MX, you'd still have houses that close to the floodplain. So that doesn't change. I'm in the insurance business, and I'm concerned about people who buy without knowing that they're that close to a floodplain.
Further discussion?
Yes, Madam Chairwoman. I can understand the folks, that live just north of this property. Sounds like you got a beautiful barn, beautiful house. As a realtor, custom homes do go for a lot higher than, out-of-the-box homes. When you look at custom, the minimum that you're gonna look at is $250,000 and up. I mean, and that's on a very small scale. They don't make houses the way those are built anymore. It's rare unless it's a true custom, and true customs nowadays, you're looking at, $175 a square foot is that about right for a custom home? Most people can't afford that. They can, under our current zoning, he can already do pretty much what he's doing now, except then part of the properties would be in the flood zone. This here eliminates that. And I hate it, but we're also bound by law that all around there's MXR. It meets all the qualifications. If we deny this request tonight, he can take it to a Superior Court judge and get it anyway. So, thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair, may I interject for just a moment?
Yes, sir.
Unlike a matter involving a special use permit, which is simply a question of whether the criteria for the issuance of the special use permit is required, and that can be subject to appeal, the decision for rezoning is purely a legislative decision. And that means that typically the courts stay out of that sort of decision-making. They believe that it's up to the board to make that, and more often than not, they see the remedy at the ballot box rather than through the court system. If you're unhappy with the decision that the board's made, then put some other people on the board. So I just wanted to make sure that the board was aware that this is a rezoning decision and not a decision which would be quasi-judicial and would be held to a higher standard.
Okay.
It's a legislative decision.
Okay. Mr. Cornman, do you have anything else? Are we ready to move on? I declare the public hearing closed. May I have a motion and a second to either approve or deny the rezoning request and adopt the resolution on the statement of consistency?
One question, what was the, planning board's,
Their recommendation was 5-0 to approve. Yes, sir.
I make a motion to, approve this rezoning request and adopt the resolution on the statement of consistency.
I'll second it.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Cast your vote.
Okay.
I guess that's why they call this the hot seat sometimes.
You're really torn.
I know. I'm torn.
All of the votes are in. And that motion carries by a vote of 6-1.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you, Mr. Garrett. Thank you, Mr. Cornman, and staff. All right, we're moving on to, the consent agenda. Are there any items to remove from the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion to approve and a second. Please cast your vote. Mr. Shaw.
Oh, yes. Excuse me, I'm having a leg cramp, and it's like driving me crazy.
It would all be okay if you stood up.
Can't get up to go out.
Mhm.
Oh, no. plan down?
All of the votes are in.
I just thought I'd get Larry to come back there and help me out of here.
Go rub him down, Larry.
Okay. We're, on our deliberation items. We're going to authorize a resolution to accept the portrait of Connie B. Boner, RN, from the family of Connie B. Boner. Ms. Coontz, you're on.
Good evening, Chairman Watford. Hello, Commissioners. Thank y'all so much for having us. Behind me, you may have noticed the composition of the room has changed a little bit. We are joined tonight by many members of the Boner family, as well as some retired individuals from the Davidson County Health Department. Ms. Boner worked with us for about 37 years, and I say us because I consider myself part of the entire Davidson County Public Health Department family, but she retired, I think, before I started kindergarten, so, but they're wonderful stories of her work at the health department. She was just a wonderful human, but an exemplary public health nurse. She did a lot of great things, but because I didn't get to work with her, we're fortunate that we have Mr. Richard Baxley. You're over that side. So I was hoping Mr. Baxley could just tell y'all a little bit more about Ms. Boner, since I was unable to really know her. So, Richard, thank you.
Well, you guys get sick this far.
Go ahead.
Well, hello.
You
Fred. I don't have a lot to say, except Connie was a public health nurse. Now, nowadays, we know all nurses are brave. But a public health nurse goes out into the reaches of the county and into some of the worst homes to do their job and stay out late hours. They are giving, wonderful people, and you're lucky to have them all to work for you. I never had to fire but one, and she was crazy when she got there. I didn't do it. It's a great thing to have Connie's picture to be hung in the health department. It gives all the rest of them something to be happy about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I add to what Baxter just said?
Yes, sir. Go
Okay.
ahead, Don.
You know, in my other life, I was a police officer and a police chief. I knew Connie Boner also. I worked with Connie Boner. I can recall going to find Connie in the middle of the night when we had some type problem. I don't remember the problems, but we'd have a problem that had to do with public health. And we'd have to go find Connie because we knew that she would take care of it for us. And I can remember times, and this had to be in, I guess, the late 70s, early 80s, something along there. I can remember Connie coming to the police department and asking for assistance for one of our officers to go with her to one of these homes out in the county, because she would go visit these homes. And it was homes that, you know, the policemen didn't want to go back into themselves, and we would make sure she wasn't going by herself. But I remember Connie from back then, and when at that time, I don't even think I thought of public health as what we've got here today, and a wonderful director we got. But when I thought of public health, I thought of Connie Boner, and I think everybody in the Thomasville area on that end of the county, that's what they thought. That was public health. And I am proud of what y'all are doing here tonight. I just want to add on to what Richard Baxter said.
Now, if I may, I would like to introduce Ms. Boner's oldest son, who has also brought with us a gift that he actually did himself. So.
I hope it's all right that I take my mask off and fogs my glasses up.
Madam Chairman,
wow.
Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to be here. Let me introduce some folks. This is my wife Margie. My brother Mike is there. His wife Maureen is there. And their daughter Bailey is there. And you've met Mr. Baxley. This is my friend Brenda Swicegood that I grew up with out in our neighborhood out near Tyro. And then Joanne McMillan was one of my mom's best friends at the health department. And give me your first name again. I'm bad with first names.
I'm Susie Connor.
Susie Connor worked with Mom when she was an intern. We're pleased that we're able to present this portrait to be hung in the health department offices. Mom served the citizens of this county for 37 and a half years, from 1950 to 1987. And she served under 3 different health directors, Dr. John Varner, Dr. Dermot Lohr, and then Mr. Baxley. She loved her job. She loved the people with whom she worked, the other nurses, the sanitarians, the health directors, and she was very, very dedicated to her job. Mr. Truel talked about the fact that he knew her. I've run into people when I come back home from Charlotte. I run into people all the time. They find out my last name. They said, "Are you related to Connie Boner?" I said, "Yes, that's my mother." And so I'm amazed, continue to be amazed at the number of people that are still here that still remember her. She met a lot of people doing the county schools as a school nurse, and then of course she was the tuberculosis nurse, and went all over the county pursuing cases of tuberculosis, getting the people into treatment, and for those who were not willing to go to treatment, taking them to before a district court judge who would order them to go into treatment. Mom, I think even after she retired and after she moved to Charlotte, missed the people that she'd worked with, missed the people here in the county, and we're pleased that she's finally getting to go back to the office, and will be there forevermore. And I think her spirit will probably be there as well. And we very much appreciate Ms. Kuntz' help in getting the portrait hung, and we appreciate your willingness to accept it on behalf of the citizens of Davidson County. And Mike, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I know you've had a long evening here. I just want to obviously comment on this, and that one of the influences of my mother is I actually have a degree in public health. I went to graduate school and got a master's in public health administration to be a health director like Lillian. I started the WIC program in Greensboro, ran a family planning program up in the mountains of North Carolina. I didn't spend my whole life doing this. I did choose to do some other things, but having seen my mother in public health, and I think being one of the first 2 public health nurses in Davidson County, pretty much public health started with her and a few other people in this county from many years ago. And it's good that we don't forget those people, because they really are the foundation of what made this community safe for people to live in. And now the public health department is such an integral part of this town. So we appreciate the honor of being here this evening and being able to present this to the health department.
William, once we get done, can we take some pictures?
We will.
I said this at Connie's funeral. She was a pioneer. She came to me one time and said, "Mr. Baxley," she says, "I think we've got a problem." I said, "What is it?" She said, "We've got tuberculosis that medicine won't stop it." I said, "How many cases have you got?" She says, "We've got 5. And I said, "We'll call in the state." The state came in, looked at her records. They called in the CDC. The CDC has a little book they send out called the Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report. Her case information was reported in that book to let everybody know that TB existed, that couldn't be treated. Now, it's all over the world, but she found it first in this county.
Amen. Wow. That is awesome. Good job, y'all.
Thank you. And I think Commissioner Truell's going to read the resolution for us. So thank you.
Madam Chairman, I have a resolution here authorizing acceptance of the portrait of Connie B. Boner, registered nurse from the family of Connie B. Boner. If I Can read it?
Yes, sir.
Whereas the family of Connie B. Boner has presented the Davidson County Health Department with a portrait of Connie B. Boner, registered nurse, painted by her son Richard Boner. And whereas the family of Connie B. Boner wishes to recognize her contribution and 37 years of service to public health in Davidson County. And whereas Ms. Boner received numerous awards during the time with the Davidson County Health Department, including Director's Award in 1984, and she was Employee of the Year in 1986. And whereas the Davidson County Health Department and Davidson County government greatly appreciates employees who dedicate an entire career to serving our community, so now therefore it be resolved by the Davidson County Commissioners. First, that the Davidson County Board of Commissioners hereby approve the gift of the portrait to the Davidson County Health Department and agrees that the portrait will be hung in a place of prominence at the Davidson County Health Department. Two, that Davidson County Board of Commissioners expresses gratitude and appreciation to the family of Connie B. Boner for their gift in remembrance of Connie B. Boner's dedication to her patients and to her significant contributions in fighting tuberculosis. And three, a signed copy of this resolution will be sent to the family of Connie B. Boner in expression of the Davidson County Board of Commissioners' recognition of Connie B. Boner's service to the residents of Davidson County, adopted this 11th day of August, 2020. And Madam Chairman, I would like to make a motion that we approve this resolution.
Motion to approve.
Second, Madam Chair.
I have a second.
Verbal or vote?
Cast your vote.
That's just amazing.
Very limited, but when I served county back in the city, I remember your mother. I sure do. I didn't have a whole lot of contact with her. I was just a young, stupid rookie deputy at that time. I remember.
All of the votes are in, and that motion carries by a vote of 7-0.
Madam Clerk, would we like to do a photo with the family and the portrait? All right, great.
And then maybe do one of everyone in front of the board.
Oh, yes, I think that would be fantastic.
Can I help?
Way to get out of that.
Well, you probably need to turn that portrait around.
Yeah.
I would guess.
I'll hold it so we don't turn
Oh,
it.
yeah, that'd be good.
Glad you was able to stand up. You finally let up, man. I thought I could see you.
She'll give it to you.
No, y'all made I made the wrong. I've seen cars flip over and curve and everything. It's okay.
Come on, maybe a little bit towards the center so we can get everyone all together.
Oh, right, okay.
That looks good. That looks good.
We need to tighten up.
Other side.
1, 2, 3. Another one. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Great.
Thank you very much.
Really? You didn't get in the picture?
No, sir.
Are you straight out of that state?
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in.
I got your thank you.
Yeah,
That was you?
yeah, I'm retired now. I'm just,
Enjoy, Joy, you know, so.
well, thank you, I'm glad to be.
Sing again, Rick.
It's not like it was last year.
Thank you, His Honor.
Appreciate you.
For the stuff.
Thank y'all again.
I didn't test it, no. It would. Oh, okay. Well, I'm scared.
Some of that, Thorough Susie buys that stuff, you can rub it on if you have a cramp or something. knocks it back up. Back then, man, that thorough works, it really works.
I remember Miss Bowen, I didn't have my one there,
Thank you, Lillian.
I don't think that
All right, we have,
didn't have the 2-3 anyway.
Jerry's been waiting patiently back there. Okay, all right. All right, Casey's going to lead off our request to schedule a public hearing for 2021 Schedule of Values, Standards, and Rules.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Back in March, you guys may remember we changed our, amount of years we do for our property revaluation from 8 to 6. Tonight's the first step in continuing to move that process forward. We'll be calling a public hearing on the schedule of values that Jerry's going to present in just a few minutes. Inside the agenda item, you've got a basic timeline of what comes next after that leads us all the way to the end of the year through the appeals process, headed toward FY22, which is new tax bills go out. So I'm gonna let Jerry come up and give you the schedule of values. One last piece of this item after we get past Jerry's part. There is an appropriation here from the reval fund, which has about $79,000 in it to do the pictometry, the aerial pictometry. We will need that to get the values as accurate as possible. We went around and shopped about 3 different prices for these. The high end was $83,000, low end was $69,000. The attached to the $69,000 with the current vendor that we use now. So we're asking for the board if should this item move forward. The 2 things for recommendation is to set the public hearing coming in September to have a conversation with the public on the schedule of values and the rules, and number 2, the appropriation for the pictometry, so when the leaves fall off the trees in the fall, we can do the pictometry and get as accurate numbers as humanly possible. So from there, I'm going to let Jerry do his thing.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I have a physical copy of the schedule of values for 2021, and we ask that it be approved or scheduled for adoption.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. May I have a motion and a second to schedule a public hearing on the Schedule of Values, Standards, and Rules for September the 8th, 2020?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
Can we add the appropriation of those funds to that motion, Casey?
Yes, it's at the bottom. If somebody can make sure that's in the motion to appropriate the funds for the pictometry out of the reval fund.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
Motion wouldn't have been much without including that. Would have had no way to pay for it.
Who did the motion in the second?
I did.
Fred did.
And who did the motion?
I did.
Steve did.
Thank you.
It doesn't make a bit of difference.
Okay, I've got that now. I need your vote, Commissioner Shell.
Need to
All
vote
of the
again.
votes are in, and that motion carries by a vote of 7-0.
Make a motion with adjourn.
Second.
Thank y'all so much.
Verbally, please. Hey.